How's it going, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest behind the bar reviews. This week's chapter, last week's chapter of One Piece, chapter 919, is entitled The Ruins of Oden Castle. I apologize that the reviews are a little late, guys, for both One Piece and Shokugeki no Soma. Both reviews will be up here very, very shortly. It was simply because my friend had a big birthday weekend bash over at a lake house, so I was there all weekend, and I needed Sunday night to kind of recover from all the partying. So, sorry about the lateness in the review, guys, but as you can tell, I finally got some One Piece volumes. Now I have some representation for the One Piece reviews from now on. So, let's just get started. Let's get started with Chapter 919 review. At the beginning, we see that Speed is still there, and she is still under the control of Tama. Now, of course, she is not listening to anybody else, like when Luffy says things, or Law, or somebody else, just like in the previous chapter. Like, I don't need to listen to you, and then Tama says, could you please? Oh, yes, master, no problem. So, of course, she still retains her awareness to a degree, but when it comes to Tama, who fed her cheek treats, there's no holds barred, so now her loyalty has shifted like any other animal would. Once again, I'm under the impression that this is only for smiles, for artificial zone devil fruit users, because they're more animalistic in a sense and they're artificial, so it's working in a much different way, and depending on how the smiles are actually manufactured, which one theory is they actually take real animals and turn them into the fruits, that would explain at least a little bit as to why, it's affecting Speed and such. Now, I know some people are upset because a headliner of Kaido's crew being controlled by a little girl in the first few chapters of, the arc, what are you doing here, Oda? But that's not the thing to complain about in this chapter. That is way down on the list, boys and girls. That being said, we see that Tama is going to head back to her village and see the Tengu guy, and, oh, thank you so much for the food, I'll treasure it always, sort of the idea, and is taking off on Speed. Now, Luffy claims that he's going to keep the Kitetsu blade because he needs to look like a real samurai, and Zoro's in the background, hey, by the way, let me see that thing, seriously, you don't even use the sword. That really goes nowhere. Now, everyone's all like, oh, thank you, Luffy Taro, thank you for the treasure, for the food, the treasure ship, and all that fun jazz, and everyone's just so excited. He's like, hey, I'm a hero sort of idea. Law's sitting in the corner, sulking, going, the pirates doing good things for downtrodden people makes him want to vomit. This is bullshit. That's all Law's doing. He's just sulking in the corner that, pirates are not supposed to be like this. Pirates are supposed to be doing what Kaido's crew is doing in his kind of mind. But we all know that Law is more of an exterior tough guy. He's not exactly, Captain Kidd or anything, or a Doflamingo or someone like that. So they decide that they're still going to go to the ruins, of course, of Oden Castle and the like. We see that Kiku, of course, is going to join them, and she's, hiding her true intentions. Like, oh, I always wanted to go to the ruins of Oden Castle, and in her mind, she's thinking, I know these are clearly good people, they're doing stuff, but I cannot trust what they're doing. So clearly she knows something. Zoro, frankly, says is like, yeah, well, she's hiding something. We cut over to a schoolhouse, and this is, this reminds me, if any of you had to suffer through English classes when we were all in high school and junior high, The Wave, that book that was all about like Nazism happening in a school, and I guess it's based on a real event where they were looking at how did the Nazis actually take over when the Germans weren't okay with it and all that stuff, and they actually do control a school through Nazism in a sense, and it gets to a point where it's actually scary, it's dangerous, it's indoctrination, it's brainwashing. This is an indoctrination, get them when they're young, say what we say when we say it again and you'll get a gold star, or a toy, or you'll get a pat on the head. Good job, little Timothy. Like, at least they're doing it right. But once again, Oda, every chapter showing some pretty dark shit without actually getting into it. Like, it looks like a happy scene, but it's not. They're brainwashing the children of Wano into believing this stuff. It's Nazism here. It's indoctrination. It's nuts. This is... Whoa, I don't know where I was going with this stuff. But they apparently are teaching them, like 20 years ago, this is what happened. And who are these bad people? The bad Odin samurai. And who is our savior? Shogun Orochi. And of course, we all know that Orochi is the 8-headed serpent or dragon that in mythology, that they cut the tail. Susanoo cut the tail and got, the great blade, the Kusanagi blade out of us and such. There's a lot that may be based on things, maybe not. In fact, there were supposedly 2 swords pulled from the tails or one of the heads. It depends on which translation you get. But when they cut the last tail, they say it was only the last tail, it came the Kusanagi blade. There was a second blade that was apparently pulled. I forget the name of it, and I wouldn't be able to pronounce it anyways. But there was a second blade in some stories pulled from the 4th tail, I believe it was. So this may be a reference here because a lot of people are assuming by this kid with the 2 ruler sticks is saying, Orochi 2 style, is that he uses, he's a dual wielder. Like Zoro uses 3 swords, Orochi is an actual warrior and he uses 2 blades. He's a dual wielder. If that were the case, potentially he would have the so-named Kusanagi blade or a play on the Kusanagi blade and this other blade. I'll have to look into that for the next chapter review and see if that what that blade is called and if that is where Oda may or may not go with that. And this woman teacher is apparently a smile fruit user of some form, the snake model, because I'm pretty sure we've seen the model snake fruit, devil fruit before. I don't know really where, but I'm pretty sure we've seen it. That being said, it could potentially be one of those things like model cobra, model rattlesnake, model etc. So there might be multiple snake type devil fruits, but I'm going to go under the impression that this is a smile artificial devil fruit snake model of some variety, because that'd just be too like there's so many other animals you could have gone with here, Oda. So just stop with the confusion. We're just going to assume that everything from here on out is a smile devil fruit user until we see some real members of Kaido's crew sort of idea. Like when we see some more calamities and such, then we can assume that these are true zones. Now, after this, we jump over to this samurai guy where we see Robin. We see a lot of One Piece fans' best girl. We see Robin there doing her geisha dance, trying to learn her steps. And there's this samurai-looking dude, or some lord of some sort, anyways, and he is talking about the curse that apparently Odin's wife. He goes, "I heard it. I heard the curse." And he's all drunked up, and he's like, "Lord Orochi, you coward." And his manservant there is trying to say, "Listen, you can't say that. Shut up. Please shut up, Lord." And he's like, don't worry. He's such a pussy because he's scared to death. This is the 20th year. Do you know what that means? No, what? No, what? And it's like, okay, so he's clearly, this guy's drunk and he's saying all the story. And suffice it to say, there's this whole thing about heavens, I pray thee, cast 9 shadows, to bring back, and save Wano in 20 years sort of idea. That's pretty much what it is. Now, this, once again, translation things. But from the sounds of it, Odin's wife asked to cast 9 shadows, in 20 years on moonlit nights, go through of 20 years. There was nothing about what they believe the translation is. And once again, prophecies, a lot of the time, to make a good story, you always have a prophecy that is misinterpreted, shall we say. So, and right off the bat, we get a misinterpretation, in my opinion. Because he says that Lord Orochi, he knew what it meant. It meant that in 20 years, 9 samurai will come and kill you. They will come for your head and open Wano's borders. But the first part, which he said, basically quote by quote, said nothing about killing Orochi. And it said nothing about opening Wano's borders as far as I could really read into it. Once again, this was an assumption or a translation, like What does this curse mean? This desperate curse mean against me? It must mean they're coming for my head in 20 years. That 9 samurai will come for my head. And he goes on to say that Lord Orochi is so terrified of that the Kazuki clan will come back to kill him, but they were all apparently burned alive in Odin Castle 20 years ago. Which, okay, plenty of them are alive, but we'll get to that. So after all that, we jump finally back over to Luffy, and, well, Zoro somehow got lost riding a dog. Now that is funny. I find that very humorous, that Zoro's sense of direction is so damn bad. That'd be like getting in a car with your best friend. No, get in the car with Zoro and drive from point A to point B, and him getting lost with you not stopping the car. Somehow he gets out of the car and gets lost. Yet you're driving in a locked car from point A to point B without stopping. Like, it's just ridiculous. That's exactly, like, he literally got lost while riding on a dog. And even Luffy's like, how did he even do that? Like, how did he get lost riding on this dog? Either way, we see the ruins of Odin Castle. Kiku runs away. She seems to be clearly upset. And it's a lot of Law and Luffy back and forth, and it's a lot of misleading. It's a lot of misleading on Law going, oh, they may come out at night, they may not, sort of idea. And then Kinemon, he shows up. He's just like, I'm here, and he's clutching himself, and he's just like, because he's had massive, terrible diarrhea. Okay, this is One Piece. You have to have some just fun. Nothing can just be 100% serious all the time. Once in a while, I gotta have some fun with it. But even Luffy gets mad at Law, saying, like, you said they were, see, he's alive, Traffy. What are you talking about? He's like, I never said they were dead. He's like, well, then what was with all the misdirection and the misleading about they might come out at night, the gravestones are here and all that stuff. So Luffy is asking plenty of questions about this, and Law's giving him, beat around the bush answers. So, but we find out Kinemon is there, and apparently Kiku loves this dude because she jumps on him. Kiku, why are you here? Why didn't you tell me you were back in Wano? Blah, 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 blah. So there's something going on there between them, and I know some people are saying that maybe, she's not exactly a she, so maybe there's something weird there. I don't know. Anyways, they've all kind of gathered. Zoro is now lost, and so Momonosuke is here as well, and Kiku's like, you can't talk, Luffy Taro, you cannot talk to Momo like that. And he's like, oh yeah, no, it's cool. And then it's all explained. So Kiku is finally getting the full picture here, getting the whole story that, these are the people that are going to help us and actually help us, revive and try to save Wano. And the rest of the crew shows up. Not everyone, because there's still Usopp and Frankie. Now Zoro is missing once again. We know where Robin is. But all the ones, there's Sanji, there's Brook, there's Chopper, Nami, Everett. So a lot of the Straw Hats are back together again, but we still need to go and get Frankie, Usopp, Robin, and now we need to go and find Zoro once again. God knows how long he'll be gone now, and that's a bit of a tease, Oda. If Oda doesn't bring back Zoro for like 10, 20 chapters, that's a tease. That was a big tease, because all we got was, finally Zoro's back, and now we're going to lose him again. So for a lot of Zoro fanboys out there, that's going to really, really suck. And I like Zoro, so that kind of sucks. It may not go that way. We don't know yet. They all finally gather around, and they go apparently into the ruins of Odin Castle. They've set up some dusty old rooms sort of idea. And they all sit down and they start talking about this truth. The truth about everything. And Kinemon, he claims that they are time travelers. Yeah. I would love to sit back, to lean back here, guys, and tell you right now that it's misleading misdirection. The problem is that they just did it. And we're not talking like last arc. We're talking like literally last chapter. Here's the graves of everyone. And all the misleading with they're ghosts, so their spirits will be there, and they aren't really there sort of idea. And now, so we already had that misdirection. Are they going to double it up? And like Kiku's going to like in the next chapter, is Kiku going to slap Kinemon on the back of the head and go, "Don't say something so silly." It's like, no, we're from a time like is it going to be another like that's the way it sounded, but no, we aren't actually from 20 years, in the past. But if it's true, not a fan, guys. It's just right off the bat. I do not like anything about that. Now, I did watch a few other people's reviews, and a lot of them said, a few people did suggest that a Time Devil Fruit, a very limited Time Devil Fruit. There's not like a Doctor Who time. Trunks and Bulma don't have a time machine hidden in the ruins of Odin Castle or something like that. This is not a like just everyone can travel back and forth, and we're introducing time travel and magic and all these new systems after all this time into the One Piece verse. Because we have enough established stuff, Oda. We do not need that. We do not need that. At least in my opinion. The problem is that even with a Time Devil Fruit, and a lot of people are saying it was Odin's wife, and that's cast 9 shadows into, she wasn't actually praying or laying a curse. This might have been part of her Devil Fruit or something, and she was casting 9 members of the Kozuki clan into 20 years into the future because maybe she saw something, maybe she was a prophet of some variety. It's hard to say. I would really like it next chapter to find out that it's bullshit, that this is literally another misdirection, because I don't like where it's headed, just off the basis of the end of the chapter, guys. I will have to give chapter 920, 921, all that stuff fair, unbiased, like, okay, if this is what they're going with, let's look at it open-minded. But the idea and concept, if you had told me at any point reading One Piece and you said, we're going to introduce time travel, I didn't like the idea at any point, and I wouldn't like it now. So I'm not on board with this. I hope this isn't true, because I don't like the concept. I like to think that they escaped the burning castle, and I like to think that once again Odin is still alive, and for whatever reason he left to wait out the 20 years. Like, once again, maybe this is all a ruse, something to spread the fear in Orochi's mind, and then like something like that. Maybe she was doing like a remember the 5th of November thing to scare Orochi into believing one thing. And once again, the misinterpretation, like we saw in the middle of the chapter. She said nothing about opening Wano's borders. She said nothing about 9 samurai coming to kill Orochi or for his head. She said cast 9 shadows in 20, and in 20 years Wano shall be free. Or dawn will break. I don't even believe it was about Wano being free. Dawn would break after 20, living in darkness for 20 years. So it's implied, but once again, misinterpretation. It's what makes a good plot. It's what makes good drama. So I am not sold on the idea that they're actually time travelers. And if they are, I hope this is just a one-time thing and we're not going to see it again, because then that doesn't make any sense for the concept of if they were all burned alive in the castle, and if we have multiple timelines, and once you add in time, you screw up so many things, and so many questions just get no, it's either got to be so limited that it's not actually really time travel. It's more like cryogenic stasis more than time travel. You've got to limit it so damn bad that it's not even really considered a form of time travel, or it is time travel, or once again, I hope it's just misleading. Just like the grave sites and the gravestones and all that, it's just a misleading thing, all a ruse to throw suspicion off of their true goal or their true plan to truly defeat Orochi. Because they must think, when you look at all the indoctrination, I believe that's why Oda set that up specifically in this chapter before introducing the time travel thing, was to say, look, for 20 years, the people of Wano, they can't just go up, kick Kaido out, slice down Orochi, and the Kozuki clan's all good again. The people despise them. All these people, like, sure, there's the people in leftover town and stuff like that, but I believe that towns like that, the poverty towns, are probably few and far between. Half of them probably do resent the Kazuki clan for not, like, being able to stand up to, and they allowed this to happen, so maybe that mentality. You could flip that on its head. And also all the inner city and stuff, the main populace of the people that live and actually, have a life, they hate them. They've been taught from a young age for the last 20 years. They're being taught that Lord Orochi is our savior and the Kazuki clan are evil. So they can't just take over Wano anymore. It won't work. So once again, I hope that we're from 20 years, we came from 20 years of the past Wano sort of idea. I hope it's something, it's a misleading thing. Once again, I can't stress that enough, guys, but I don't want to keep babbling about it. So let's just end the review on that very sour note that I do not like that. This was a good chapter up until that last page where I'm just... Yeah, I'm not a fan, guys. I hope this isn't the case. That being said, this has been my One Piece Chapter 919 review. What did y'all think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe, comment, and comment down below what do you think of time travel, true time travel, being introduced in the One Piece story. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you have a reason why it's necessary? Let me know down in the comment section down below. As always, drink responsibly, guys, and we'll see you back here next time. See ya.